Good morning. Good morning. 11:01 and 12 seconds in the AM. I didn't have that ready, did I? Yeah, you didn't hear that audio confirmation. So I've got audio confirmation. Yeah, and yes, some last second adjustments made me a little bit late. We got a few people in the Zoom session. I'm going to go look at chat as I usually do on Saturday mornings. I got to get to my live stream, not the other one that I was watching from Pirate Software. Pop out chat. It's Saturday morning, December 9th, 2023. Zooming in on chat and bringing you over to chat. Turn on that little picture-in-picture pip, I call it. Ida Rivera loved the trailer, had to refresh and hear it again, and yet again. Tim Tech, I love the trailer. Good pick, Doug. God bless you, bud. Jeff Ryman, the songs are about 20 years past my high school days. LOL. Tony Wallow gives me a text message saying okay, and oh, there's my phone. I got to put my watch on the table because I felt that vibration. I felt good vibrations from Tony Wallow on my phone, but if I keep that on my wrist, I won't feel more messages. And John Williams, that trailer brings back many memories, good and bad. Tony Wallow with a $1.99 super chat. Thank you so much. Jeff Ryman, curious about topics 2, 5, and 8. Let's go see what those are. 2, 5, and 8. 2, Matthew Barnes, unresolved 6-month warranty issue. Well, he is in the Zoom session, so he's going to tell us about that live and unscripted. 5 and 8, Danielle Emberley, hardware info correlation to USB devices. She sent me an email on that this morning, so we'll get into that. And 8, memory integrity cannot be turned on, core isolation. I have not done any work on that outside of what we last did. Now, I've got the microphone position a little different. Let me move it over this way a little bit. And that might sound like I'm not as close to the microphone, whereas usually I'm about this close, and you actually aren't seeing it in the camera view. Still not seeing it in the camera view. It's right here. Yeah. So let's see how that position works out. Come back to chat. Looking at the end of chat, see if there's any comments about microphone. Nope, there aren't. Josh Kinder, Retro Gaming, just wanted to come to say hi to everyone. Can't stay, just wanted to say hi. And his topic is postponed again. People saying hellos to each other. Great memory, those music selections. Lots of flashbacks. Say it's Lawn Dog, Jeff Ryman. Did I miss some names? Ida, Jonathan, Jesse, Kirk. Hello, everyone. People saying hellos back and forth. Sin, vicious, supercalifragilistic, expialidocious. I forget. Hello. Jeff Ryman, Jonathan, John Williams, Lawn Dog giving us a YouTube short. Probably not gonna, let's see, it is, what do we have here? Robots testing the bulletproof Cybertruck. Oh, Elon Musk's Cybertruck being tested by robots. All right, well, if you want to see that, I'm going to let you go and watch it. From Lawn Dog. And then Tony Wallow says, hi, Jonathan. Jonathan is topics 2 and 5, which that was already the ones requested, right? 2, 5, and 8. I'm thinking maybe not do 8 today because I think we have enough on tap today. Palette? Ran Israel, Jonathan, Tim, and Daniel, Celestia Guru, hello, with a weather report. For a change, I actually recognize most of the songs. I wonder what that means. CFWW. Oops, used the wrong user ID. I'll change that. Greg Guy. That's why I haven't recognized Celestia Guru around a while. He usually uses a different one, and I'm not sure who that is. Greg Guy, good morning all in chats. Just got up 1 p.m. and smiled 60 degrees. Alex, hello. I need to know what's up with topic number 3. Yeah, topic number 3 mentions Alex, doesn't it? Let's get over to Where do I see that? I guess over here. Yeah, 3. Rescheduling plan for Windows Daily based on the Alex technique. At 7:47 a.m. this morning, I had 580 download speed, upload 23. At 10 a.m., I had 722 download and upload at 21. So the Alex technique is Alex got a little razzmatazz from the community with a time period when he was doing lots of speed tests. So the Alex technique means I go over and do speed tests before the Monday through Friday shows and check on my speed test. And if I'm having a trouble with slow upload speed, I may delay the broadcast for half an hour. So this is a bit slow, even though I am streaming right now. So part of the upload speed is being used by the upload stream. That is lower than what I was having earlier. But I want to do those tests before the daily shows, and I may wind up moving it back by half an hour on short notice. So that's the Alex technique. Guess the live is over. Let's see. Wow, there now is the right user ID. So Selden Ball is Celestia Guru, I suppose. Skipping through. AVDVR good. Ken Stout with ads. How are you, Ken? Skin? Did I call him Skin? Richard Rogers. Zvi Menoris here. Costanza the Mage. People saying hellos to each other. Rand Israel, Rick Lakes. Skipping through. Tim Sowell, good morning, got back from the airport cafe. That's probably the airport over here by me. Richard Rogers. Skipping through to try to catch up and go bring in Zoom. Okay, get ready in Zoom. Get ready to mute your YouTube audio. I'm going to start with turning my camera on so you can see me. Hi, that's me. And then I'll unmute my microphone. You should be able to hear me now. We're not hearing you yet. I'm going to get you visually on screen. That's correct. They still can't hear you. And then I'll change, let's see, same as system. There, we should be able to get an audio check now. Let's start on my top left corner, Bobby Warren. Hello, Bobby. Okay, do you want to give me a brief description of that? Okay, that's a topic on hand. Then moving to my next one is William Dawson. Hello, William. Do you have any topics? All right, great. I'll ask you to mute yourself and tell you I want to speak something. Hello, Mike Wojcik. How are you today? I'm good. All right, welcome aboard. Any of you, feel free to unmute yourself and just, say, hey, Doug, when you want to interrupt me, and I'll come to you. Alex Cheek, hello there. Hold on, they're not hearing you. Oops, I see why. Okay, so the hellos we already did not come through. So Alex, try that again.
Hello, Doug. You had already answered my question just now on the stream. I had to know what that was about. Ken had advised me that I was on your list, and I'm like, well, I haven't talked to him, so I wonder why I'm on his list. I don't really have anything. I don't really have anything else to bring up today, other than I'm still waiting for my church to have a business meeting and bring up all of their networking computer issues that need to be addressed at some point.
All right. Thank you. And I'll ask you to mute until you want to, say, hey, Doug, to interrupt me. However that might go. Matthew Barnes, hello.
Howdy, Doug.
And I think we'll come to your topic right quick here. Let me just check back with, or do a couple of adjustments. Let's see. I'm going to adjust Zoom a little bit so it fills up the screen better. I did not pre-adjust Zoom. I neglected that. And in YouTube land, they did not hear William Dawson and Mike Wojcik, and they just said hello, and they're here. They're not bringing any topics in. And Bobby Warren was bringing in a topic that he's running out of space, hard drive space on his computer. But we'll go ahead and do a last catch up with Zoom, with chat, and then go into Matthew Barnes' topic. No Zoom audio, can't hear. Zoom video is overexposed. I think is my Zoom video okay now? I didn't hear nobody. And I gave you a recap of what everyone said, so I'm not going to go back and have them restate. Londog, good to see you. Alex Costanza, had my first full work week in 5 months. Boy, am I tired. No training, just kind of throw you in the deep end of the pool, so to speak. Okay, now come back to Zoom and let's get, let me review Matthew Barnes' topic before I turn to him. Matthew Barnes, Unresolved 6-month warranty story, and I'm going to go take a look at the email that he sent me and get you clued into that. Let's see, look through this stuff. And Danielle Emberley is also an email. Yeah, here's what he says. I have a couple of topics for a Saturday show or Windows Daily, not bothered which Wicked Witch of the West there? Isn't that, yeah, which, W-H-I-C-H was we'll call it voice to text typo there. The first is, I'm curious to know if you manage any backups for any clients, and if so, what method you use to do the backups. And I think I actually labeled that as a topic, didn't I? Yeah, what backup method? So if we don't get to that today, then I'll cover that on a Windows Daily. And then back to his email. Second topic, I have a warranty support call from hell's story regarding a Lenovo laptop at my place of work. That may be an interesting story and will show you why I don't enjoy using warranty services. I am on this.
Hang on a second, Doug.
Yeah.
I think something may be going wrong with your upload speed. You was buffering for a couple of seconds on the YouTube.
All right. Yeah, I'm showing drop frames down here at the bottom of the screen. I'm showing now 3203, 6%. Not nearly as bad as what we had yesterday. So since those numbers aren't increasing a lot right now, I'm guessing that we're okay at the moment. Around 10,000 kilobits per second bit rate. So then back here on the Lenovo laptop, it's a Lenovo ThinkPad L320R4. I'm not going to provide the serial number for potential security reasons, but I'll paste the specs down below. Here's a link to more in-depth specs of the laptop. Lenovo ThinkPad Intel i5 10th gen, not sure of exact model, 16 gigabytes. Samsung 512 and 13 inch. The original issue of the laptop is it would not charge from one of the USB-C charging ports. Original warranty call was opened in May of this year, but more than 6 months on the issue with the laptop remain unresolved. Matthew, what more can you tell us?
Sure. So this call started out with a user saying, I can't charge my laptop. And the first thing I thought was, are you using the right charger? Because if we're honest, we don't trust anything users tell us. So it turned out they were using the right charger, but charging port wasn't working. And these laptops have 2 ports used, but most of the time it's hard to get people to use anything other than they used to. And if we're being honest, it should work. No reason why it shouldn't. So we opened a call with Lenovo, or to be specific, our repair contractor that does repairs on behalf of Lenovo. And they said, that's fine. We'll send someone out and have a look at it. So about 4 weeks go by and someone comes out and they replace the motherboard and they say, I believe it's fixed that issue, but I found other issues with your laptop. I believe it was SSD and possibly something else. So about 2 months go by then without hearing anything. And then one day, someone else shows up, says, I'm here to look at this laptop, replace these parts. I believe it was SSD in that case. And the engineer did that. And then at the end, he said he found other problems with it, but wasn't very clear on what they were. And it was quite a long visit. And at the end, I was like, enough with this already, fine. Just come back and fix the rest of it. So about 4 months later, engineer turns up again, the same one, and says, I'm here to fix this laptop. Fine. Again, is with us for about 2.5 hours and says, well, I've replaced this part, but I found another part that's not working. I can give you the option of we can take the laptop to our repair center and fix it there. And at this point, I was like, whatever. I'm sick of seeing this device just taken away from me. Before I do something to it, I regret. So the last update is of about 3 days ago. The laptop came back from the repair center with a broken trackpad. And when we went to try and install our image on it, the SSD that they replaced is the wrong size. So we can't image it. And that's about it.
Is that all? Oh my gosh.
Well,
oh my God. Yeah, that's a big convoluted story. Oh my gosh. I'm surprised they didn't just replace the laptop.
Yeah, I'm sure there is something in the contract that says if you can't fix the laptop within a certain period of time, you should just replace it with an equivalent model.
Well, I've heard other people get theirs replaced in a lot less time and trouble than what you've already gone through. That's crazy. All right. So when you said about the USB charging port, I had some ideas in mind about suggesting for that, but I don't even think I want to go down that road because this computer is seriously messed up. Ay caramba. Keystone Cops, Jim is saying, yeah, that sounds like. I don't have any follow-up questions for you. I mean, all I could say there is I'm with you about the reluctance to talk to warranty repair. I mean, I'm at a point where I never do the extended warranties on computers where my clients are going to be calling me because I'd rather just deal with it myself. There are some occasions where I'll contact for warranty support, but typically I want to be able to give them proof positive. They can't deny that my diagnosis is correct. And if I can just buy the part and replace it, I'll do that. Or maybe have them send me the part. Depending upon what computer it is, if it's a server, I'll have them come out and replace the part. Yikes. Okay, I'll give the people in Zoom a chance first. Do you have something you want to ask or interact with on that story? Then I'll go to chat. I'm going to take that as a no. What do you say? I mean, geez.
I just want to say, sounds like the people that had the issue should have came to you sooner than they did. They wouldn't have had all the issues with the SSD not being large enough and all that. But I really don't have any other comments, any other thoughts to add to that. I would just replace it. I agree with Doug.
All right. Well, the SSD size issue didn't happen until after the warranty people worked on it, as I understand. And the only problem the user had was the charging port. I'm not aware that the user tried, from what you said, I didn't hear that the user tried to do anything on their own to fix it. So they're probably okay on that point.
Were they also having any kind of like battery charging issues, or were they using it plugged in all the time, or?
Don't believe so, but I'd have to go back and check.
All right, let me go check with chat room. Let's see. There's Comcast. Yeah, because Comcast. Now I think it was Tim Sowell. Let me go look at this because there's about my speed issue. I think there's something in here. Yeah, Moonwalker 27 Tim. Comcast is upgrading their systems. However, the older systems inside the homes do not agree with the new system outside. I've gotten several service calls for computer repairs. Nothing I could do. It's Comcast problem. So that points out I ought to call Comcast and see if I'm due for an upgraded router or a newer router. And while I'm here, I'll point out, let's see, Dennis's comments about...
Doug?
Yes?
Whenever you get an upgrade for a router, you can just go to the Comcast store and do it yourself, not let them come out. It's simple and easy and save you.
I know. But I'll call them and find out if there's one available for me. Then I'll go to the Comcast. I know how to do that. Thank you. So Dennis was following up on an issue the other day. Comments and ratings is in YouTube. Channel content, click on a video content, scroll down just after the category. I'll make a quick video as I have to see a doctor tomorrow. You have Skylake. Oh, yeah. Okay, so that's one topic here. He did send me a video about what he was talking about the other day about a change in comments and ratings, and that was very helpful. Thank you, Dennis. And then he was pointing out, Mike, I was asking about the dev view that I was looking at, I think it was yesterday, had Skylake and Kaby Lake chipset, and he was clarifying that Skylake, let's see, it was my CPU and Kaby Lake was my chipset. So he gave me a clarification of what those mean, and the channel comments that he was talking about, there's a few places to get to this. He was showing it on an uploaded video, but I can, when I'm live streaming, I have that control. I think it was down here. Yeah, comments and ratings, where I have comments turned on, and I've not been mentioning this enough, but I have comment moderation where all comments are held unless they are comments made in chat or comments on video from people who are already approved users or moderators. If you're trying to make a comment in the chat room and you're unable to do that, the way to ask me to do that is to put a comment on any of my videos, not the chat room because you can't talk there yet. Put a comment on any of my videos and it'll show up over here, held for review, and just ask to be approved for making comments. And as long as I can determine that you're not the troll that's been bothering us, some of us in the community, then I'll go ahead and approve that. Now, then, moving on. Lenovo USB-C charge port failures are unfortunately common. Their laptops are in common use at the organization from which I retired. Internet speed comments back and forth. I'm going to kind of skip over those. Speed of response from Lenovo is part of the paid or warranty service Response of my ex-employer is typically less than a week. When some of my clients, we have purchased the extra warranty coverage from Dell, and I think we've done HP too, and we've typically got very quick response. But those are on when you're paying the extra level of support. Which failed last night? Ken Stout, something failed last night. There's a buffer, not a whole lot of parts, typical laptop beyond the motherboard. It's time to send the entire computer to Lenovo, explain what the issues are, and the factory should fix these. So one of the questions that I had in mind when I saw Matthew's issue was USB device view, USB dev view that we were using yesterday and a few times recently. What does it show for the power usage on a USB-C port that is receiving a charge? Does it show a negative number? If somebody has the opportunity to send a screenshot of that, I'd like to see that. And then for Matthew's situation, if he was still trying to troubleshoot it, which no, don't do that. let them deal with it. But then my next question there would be, connect the charger to the USB-C port that is working for charging and look what USB dev view is showing for power on that port, and plug it into the other port that is documented to also be a charging port and see what it reads there. I'd be curious about that, but you've already had their warranty people working on it, so I don't think there's any point in trying to prove anything further to them, but it would be curious to find out what that shows. Technicians are not solving the problem. By the way, I'm familiar with the service you're being provided with. These guys are very limited in what they can do. I'm even surprised they even changed the motherboard and these other things. I find this really weird. Now, I've mentioned to you a couple times, one of my brothers, Stan, who's been on the show a few times, he did work for a company that was a contract company for Dell. And he would go out to consumers' homes and businesses, but mostly he was sent to the homes to replace parts. And he was just trained up enough to, well, actually, no, he wasn't. He wasn't trained up enough to replace the parts. He went out there, he had access to the technical services manual and was just expected to figure it out. So my point there is the technicians that they send out are not the highest caliber technicians, unless I think when you're paying the higher coverage amounts, then perhaps they are. I don't know. Keystone Cops reference is lost on these kids. Thumbs up if you enjoy the content. 45 watching, only 5 clicks. John is pointing out. Mondog has a question. I know USB charging for the batteries on a laptop is becoming the norm, but I have a specific question that is truly a machine that needs USB charger to charge the laptop. There are no other methods to charge this laptop. The typical round cord that we're all familiar with, this absolutely does not have one of those. And the fact that you mentioned USB-C ports, they can be used for charging. I need some updating from the group. If they run into this feature, 2 ports used for charging, yes, typically 2, the ones I've seen. Although I have seen some laptops that only have 1 USB Type-C port, so then it's only 1 port. Allowing you to choose either port for charging, that sounds interesting to me, but I could need some updating in my education. Theoretically, after all these months of usage and repairs that laptop, obviously the battery should be absolutely dead. Is this battery easily removed? No, what you missed there, Lawn Dog, is the second charging port works fine. So why not just use the other charging port? That's a question for Matthew. Was there a reason why the user couldn't just use the charging port that was working?
I should have included this in the email, but these laptops are used in, are you familiar at all with laptop lockers?
Laptop lockers, no.
Okay. They're basically a fancy way of storing laptops that they have a network and power. But as these laptops don't have Ethernet ports, you have to have one cable for power and one cable for the network, so that we're able to still manage them remotely. And when they're in the locker, if you only had one of them plugged in, you either have it charging but can't manage it remotely, or manage it
Oh,
remotely and then not have it charge and then not manage it remotely.
okay. Are these laptops used by multiple different people?
Yes, they are. I
Okay.
should have
So
included that in the initial email.
that would be an explanation why you want them both working. And then another question that you just brought up is, would the one port for charging work and the other port, does it work for Ethernet, or is the other port completely non-functional?
I believe non-functional.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that nails it then. Okay. Multiple ports, all of which can be used for charging. Comcast, the Lawn Dog. Here's a tool these technicians need to have. That laptop, they need to have USB-C amp meter. Well, we can see that with USB dev view. Moving on. Selden Ball. I know nothing about Lenovo battery replacement modern laptops. I want to get past this Lenovo computer. Skip through.
So do I, Doug.
Yeah, right. We've had enough of it, right? Danielle Emberley, we have fiber to the residence available where I'm at, but have been reluctant to change most comments. One hears about the provider related to Landwire phone service and DSL. I would be pretty quick to switch to fiber, but it sounds like she's hearing troubles related to that in their area. Am I understanding that statement right? We have fiber to the residence available where I am, but I have been reluctant to change. Most comments one hears about the provider related to Landwire phone service and DSL problems. I'm assuming comments means problem comments. Skipping over the battery, skipping over the Lenovo. Ken Stout, Joshy attempted to restore that ran over 6 hours. I suspect it failed. I don't know. Well, I don't know enough about that to comment. That has to do with replacing the battery. Connector can both work its way about the current draw. John Williams, a friend of mine, Lenovo, that kept shutting down. All that was wrong. It needed the battery and charger to be replaced. Easy fix. Skipping over the battery stuff. Skipping over the Lenovo stuff. Hi, Natasha. Just wanted to say hi. Hello, Natasha. Natasha is Josh's wife. That's why he's not available for us to work on his issue today, is that he and his wife are doing something about the place where they got married, I think. Do you have the exact model, same model that performs the way you would like it to perform, and this one doesn't, the way others are the exact same model? I will get that from you, Matthew. I would assume that you have many other computers of this same model. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, just in these lockers, we've got
Yeah.
95 other laptops, so it's
All right. And the lockers is where they're stored when they're not in use, and they are left on with power and Ethernet connected so you can manage them, right?
correct.
Got it. And that's kind of some kind of a school environment, isn't it?
Yeah, university.
University in Australia?
The UK.
UK. All right. You're not offended by that because you know the memory of a Doug. It does not that good. Short answer, yes. All lockers have 96 laptops in total. Landline phones, where that's probably a question to Danielle.
I can make a comment on that DSL fiber situation. that they're facing. There's there's a Facebook group. It's not just strictly for internet, but it's a local Sheridan Facebook group on Facebook, and you would not believe the amount of comments about our internet provider, because some people like me have fiber, but some people they haven't switched from the old DSL, and the people that still have the DSL are still complaining about the service and refuse to upgrade to the fiber because they don't realize how much better it is.
Yeah. Okay.
But on the other hand, I think a lot of the problems people are having, if they have fiber and are having problems, because a lot of people on there also have fiber like me and have problems. I think a lot of their problem is because they're using strictly Wi-Fi, using the provider's equipment and not using their own equipment, because they don't realize they can use their own equipment, so they don't have to spend the extra $10 a month to rent the equipment. But it's kind of hard to convey all that in text form on Facebook.
Yeah. Well, a couple other pieces to that is, particularly in home user environments, what people do with their computers, for a lot of them, aren't going to really feel much benefit by the fiber optic if they're not doing anything that's very challenging to their internet service. Another piece is, I recently had a client who got upgraded by their service provider to fiber, and they weren't really after improved speed, but that by doing this, they were re-upping to a new contract, and their monthly cost was actually going to go down, and their service capability was going to go up. So it's kind of like a no-brainer.
I just get tired of seeing all the comments, and another thing, maybe because people that still have the old DSL service, a lot of them probably are still paying for the phone actual voice portion of the DSL service and not just the internet. And along with that, they're paying for all the providers extra security, software, and technical support like that they don't need. Because as far as I know, they still provide technical support for your computer through LogMeIn like they used to years ago. They used to have it.
All right.
And
I thank you. And I want to say hello to Gary. Oh, he's still connecting to audio. I've been bouncing my eyes back and forth between chat room and the conversation going on. I'm going to be skipping over some of the chat comments and going on to our next topic. Yeah. And Greg M. in Canada has no modem rentals nor contracts for home service. Now, the other topics that were requested, Danielle Emberley's topic, and let's see, it was 2 and 5, and we did the 3 also. So Danielle Emberley, let me bring that up on tap. Although there's Gary, he's got his audio working now. Hello, Gary.
Hello.
Did you have anything burning from our topic so far that you want to add in?
Actually, a quick comment about DSL fiber, because I have some renters and they, here has horrible cable, but basically, I think Alex is going back, he had DSL. Well, compared to his fiber maybe, I don't know his fiber today, but may be bad, but compared to DSL, it is probably great.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you would die for fiber right now compared to your uploads you're getting on your cable.
Yeah. Well, all I care about is that my live streams don't buffer. And say when my upload speed is good right now, it's 25 megabits per second, which is really not a very impressive upload speed at all. Even my Comcast could do far better than that if it was performing well.
we have people working from home, and that's the problem. Is they're not doing a lot of updates. I mean, we can have them work from home at 25.
Yeah.
But our stuff is very optimized because we were doing, at the office, we're still doing updates the same way you would be doing it from your home. But the problem is that when they're sharing it with their husband or wife working at home, maybe the kids were off when COVID started. We don't need to go into the pandemic, but that's what got a lot of people complaining about around here about how bad internet was, because they started doing uploads that they really don't do. I mean, right now, everybody at home is watching YouTube. They're not uploading to YouTube.
Yeah. And watching YouTube
That's-
just isn't that demanding.
That's what people don't realize. When you apply for a job and the job says on there you got to have 25 down, 50 download, 25 upload, or whatever, they mean 50 down, 25 up for that specific computer you're working from, not for your whole house.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
And then a quick Matthew thing is, if you get where you actually have a sales rep from Dell or HP or whoever, Lenovo, you usually get into a better, I won't say better maintenance people, but they come willing to step out a whole machine if needed be at that point. So we have maintenance, and if it goes dead, they don't leave with us not working, and the machine doesn't leave the premises.
That length of time that Matthew's had without them volunteering to replace the machine, that's.
I mean, but they don't take the machine
excessive.
off unless it's with our data on it. That does not happen.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Moving on to Danielle's here. Hardware info correlation to USB devices. We went over that a bit yesterday, and she sent an email here. Hi, Doug. I'm attaching a screenshot showing the bus structure applicable to USB ports, as my PC appears to be working okay. I probably will not spend more time trying to relate the physical ports to the bus structure at this time. However, this does identify the path to the USB device, especially for the Western Digital portable drives. They are clearly identified. Things seem to be okay now after uninstalling Veeam Agent for Microsoft Windows. I believe that's a backup software. I have had installed it approximately 12 weeks ago, as I have made other changes. I can't say for sure this software was at fault. However, I have a suspicion things went awry with the introduction of an additional backup software and then multiple portable plug-in drives where the drive letter may change. Then there is plenty of old AMD USB concern when it comes the AMD 5000 series CPUs and the B550 chipset. Although not installed on my 5700G B550 computer, I also use a file backup program, BVCKUP2. I don't know if that was a typo for the A or if that is actually the name of the software. One feature I like is that it lets you tie the target drive identification to the target drive volume label in lieu of a drive letter. That's nice. I have not found that in other backup programs I have used. I have one client's office that when I do backups, and I attach the external device, I often go into disk management like I'm showing here and have to change the drive letter, and I keep myself a log file to say that I checked on it, because if I don't check on it, then the backup's going to fail. As it's loading my disk information here. In a moment, I'll just show where that is. Like here is this active media F. I can click on that, right click on it, and choose change drive letter and paths, and just change the drive letter here. So I am commonly doing that with this one office where the external drive doesn't always come up with the correct drive letter. I swap out these backup drives. In fact, I've got them loaded in the car right now, but these are the extras here, where each of them comes up as a different drive letter. I don't have them come up as the same drive letter, so that my backups are distinguished by the external drive that's involved. All right, back to chat room. I'm kind of scanning over. I know I've skipped some. Jeff Ryman to Alex, renting the equipment isn't always a more expensive way to go. It depends upon how often the modem router needs updating. I like using the rented equipment because it gets replaced when they upgrade their internal systems. Gary ought to be able to give us some feedback on big contracts on computers, how the service should work when you run into problems. He can possibly get some ideas when a company fixes something, and basically did do that. Kind of skipping through a little bit. Dog knows I can sometimes skip through his stuff because he's just got so much that he's offering me to use. Matthew to Lawn Dog. I got you. Honestly, we've made our sales rep for us and Lenovo aware of so many issues. They really count not to give two hoots. We're all hoping they switch suppliers next year. Yeah, I've got a internet service provider for one of my clients. I mean, so often when I deal with them, it's just a pain, and I just would rather get somebody else. Their internet service provider is specifically a provider that specializes in providing for businesses. It's not AT&T or Comcast or any of the normal ones. It's I don't know what to call them. What's it called? X something. Can't even think of it right now, but I dislike them intently. Skipping over, BVCKUP is the correct spelling. I'll take a quick look at what that is. It's from, whoa, surprise, surprise. It's from a website called bvckup2.com. Backup software for the Windows NT family, developed by Swiss-based IO Bureau. Whoops.
Hey, Doug, I'm getting ready to head out. I have a busy rest of my day.
All right.
All right, Doug.
Thanks for hanging with us, Bobby. Have a good day. Now, here's that looks like a pretty simple interface. Daily from C, next scan in 13 hours, simple, fast backup, download, fast, robust, download, purchase. If you want to purchase it, there's a server price for $150, $50 for the Pro workstation. And I think, did she say that there's a free version? Oh, I just downloaded it. Single license upgrade, $20. So what are you upgrading from? You must be upgrading from a free version. So yeah. Replace the computer even if they have to buy it. Taking it offline might point when somebody needs it to start. Shake the tree a little bit. And skipping again. Matthew to Lawn Dog, absolutely, we're not putting this laptop back into service. I should have clarified that before. Skipping past the stuff about that laptop. Okay, coming to Zoom because we got somebody new here. Hello, Jim.
Greetings, kids.
Greetings. Do you have anything to add?
No, not particularly. I will make one comment, although it's very, very late. In the beginning of the stream, or towards the beginning of the stream, you need to work on your English, live and unrestricted.
Oh, that was intentional.
Oh, okay.
That was intentional bastardizing of the English language. Unrestricted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a concatenation of unrehearsed and unscripted. So unrescripted, the re would be the rehearsed, unscripted. So you mash those, it's a mashup, I guess you might say.
Okay. Okay. You actually expect me to buy that, right?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. You just don't know how much I'm going to charge you when you buy it.
Not going to happen.
All right. Well, I think we got through actually all the topics that had been requested and caught up enough with chat. I skipped over a bunch of stuff about the Lenovo because we hashed that to death. Enough. Now, Matthew has been on in Zoom with us. I think I want to say 2 or 3 times before, but not very frequently. So I'm interested to see if anyone has questions about his work environment in the university IT environment. I'll start with a question. How many people are actually in the IT department, Matthew?
So in total, about 300 been in our team. That I should clarify looks after about 3,000 devices in total. There's 5 of us.
How many campuses are involved?
Well, we have our main campus, which is sort of outside the city center, and then we've got 3 others that we look after, which are much further away, but thankfully they're very small. So we only go there maybe once a year or so.
Okay, so did I understand you to say IT department 300, but 5 of you doing what you do?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And what would be the scope of your work, particularly in contrast to the rest of the 300? What do they do that's different?
Well, I believe what they do that's different to us is a combination of software packaging, managing the network, managing the servers, versus we only really touch desktops. They don't trust us with any of the servers.
Okay, so the 5 of you are dealing with the computers that the end users would actually be using, whether they're desktops or laptops. Students using them. Okay, so the computers that the students use. All right. Interesting. And in any one particular day, how many different computers would you actively do something with, whether it's remote or touching it physically?
Well, depends on the day, but anywhere from 100 to, well, the worst day, probably 700. But thankfully, that's rare.
How would you personally interact with 700 computers in a day?
Lots of walking around and lots of coffee.
Wow. All right. All right.
I
And
was actually hoping you'd say remotely manage it using a piece of software on your server or anything remotely. Like they would give you remote access to the server, and then through the server you could have access to that one specific program, and then you could remotely manage all of the desktop that everybody else uses.
We do have remote access, but through one reason or another, entirely workplace political reasons, we're not trusted with it. So if we want to do anything to any device, we've got to physically go there and do it.
oh,
That stinks.
wow. Yeah,
Just a bit.
I was kind of expecting you were going to say something like, well, you go to a particular place on your management software and click a button that says update 700 computers now. And it's one click.
That's what I was trying to say. That's what I had
Yeah.
at college. That's what I had set up for college, except for we had like 40 or 50 computers instead of like 700.
Yeah. Now, enjoying any particular job has a lot to do with the actual people that you're working with and getting along with, probably more than the actual work that you're doing. So how would you describe how much you enjoy your work?
Well, I don't often have to deal with people, so it's great.
All right.
But most people you deal with are fine. Of
All
course, there's the odd person that, can be a bit awkward, but
All right. Now, if an end user has it's a student, if they're having trouble with a particular let's say, software related feature, maybe in Microsoft Word. That maybe, let's say, I have an example. Somebody contacted me just a couple days ago. They had one particular Microsoft Word document that they could not print. Other Microsoft Word documents they could print. They asked me to figure out what's wrong. Would that type of a problem come to you?
It would, after the service desk has attempted a few things. I guess you could say we're like a second line of support.
All right.
And then if we can't resolve it, it'll go to another team, depending on what we determine the issues caused by.
The service desk, they would talk to the service desk first, and they probably would have found the problem that I had this with this person a couple days ago. This was John Ed, who's been on the show before, and he had a document wouldn't print, and it turned out the reason was he had custom paper size set at 8.5 wide by 11 3/4 inch long, or it should be 8.5 by 11. So I just told him to change that, and he did, and that fixed it. So the service desk probably would have caught that kind of thing, right?
You'd hope so, but not always.
All right. Well, let me say hello to Sin Vicious. Hello, Sin. Let's see if he's
Hello. I
Yeah,
had a question for Bobby
Bobby. Oh, he's gone.
or Matthew. I'm sorry, for
Matthew.
Matthew. I was wondering if you knew who Mike Pound was.
I'm not sure I do.
Oh, you talking about Mike Paradin?
No, Mike Pound.
Pound.
He's an instructor at one of the universities over there.
Oh, so it sounds like he doesn't have instructor. Yeah. So with 300 people in the IT department, the number of instructors within that university is probably pretty high number.
I've Googled it, and he's actually he works at a different university in the north of England. So
all right. Well, that brings up how many instructors within that university that you work at?
I don't know an exact number. I know the total number of staff is around 8,000,
Yeah.
but I'd guess around 50-60% are academics, and the rest are like either management or what we are as support staff.
All right. I see Ran Israel saying we've got some buffering. Lawn Dog to Gary, the kind of guy you should have working with your IT department. He cares about his job and keeping all the computers running properly. You don't always find someone with these kind of qualities. Zvi Menor is asking which university and which city, if you're willing to reveal that.
I'd rather not say, just
Okay.
yeah.
No problem. I think that is a reasonable choice too, particularly because there are some people that have been around here that are bent on being troublesome. Move on, Doug. Let's see. So this one, number 2, I talked about. Number 3, I talked about. Number 4, it was from Matthew about backup methods that I use with clients. And we dealt with Danielle Emberley. Josh is rescheduled to next week. Memory integrity, I just don't feel very enthusiastic about dealing with that now. And so let's go on to backup methods since you're here with opportunity to interact. I just wrote these notes out this morning to try to remind myself to cover all the ones. MB is Magnus Box. That's a cloud backup system. I want to say maybe a dozen different offices on Magnus Box. Some of them have more than one computer doing that cloud backup, and I, of course, charge them with a little bit of a markup of the amount that I pay for it. And anytime I spend reconfiguring that or doing any kind of management of it is direct time that I charge them. This one is Handy Backup, which is available free, and it's available for a small fee. I'm not totally happy with it, but it's an easy backup to implement. The part that I'm not totally happy about is you got to be checking up on it because it fails occasionally. But I particularly like it because it just does a file. Well, the method that I use it is it's just a file backup without any kind of compression. Oh, I turn the compression off so that I can just browse to the backup drive and copy files that are needed. Very quick, easy way to recover files that were accidentally deleted. RAID 1, I don't know that I've ever heard anyone else referring to it as a backup, but I have one of the servers that I manage has two RAIDs on it. A RAID 1 where there's 2 drives for the boot drive, and then there's 3 drives in RAID 5 for the data drive. Well, with the RAID 1, what I do is I swap out a drive. I have a couple extra drives. I'll pull one of the RAID 1 drives out and put in a replacement. Now it synchronizes so that one that I removed is actually a full copy, a full image of the boot drive for that computer. And on the RAID 5, we do Magnus Box and we do Handy Backup. And the Magnus Box does it to the cloud, and Magnus Box does it to the local external drive, as well as Handy Backup backing up to the local external drive. So I actually have these external drives. I have 2 forms of backup going to them. One is Magnus Box, which is compressed and condensed, and if I want to restore one file from it, it takes longer to restore it than it does with Handy Backup because I can't just browse through the folders. And then this one is, I'm saying internal, meaning sometimes I'll do backup. Like if I have a client's computer that I'm connected to remotely, and I decide that I want to implement a quick, easy backup to it. It's got a 1 terabyte drive. They're using less than 100 gigabytes for that computer. It's not the server, it doesn't store the data. I'll shrink down the C drive partition to about half the drive and label the other drive as the M drive for Macrium Reflect. Oh, I didn't even put Macrium Reflect in that list. How about that? And then I'll have Macrium Reflect do an image backup of the C drive to the M drive. It's on the same partition, but this is a workstation computer. It doesn't store the data. And what that gives me a convenient way to do is I don't have to go out there. I don't have to deal with external drives. I don't have to have the end user do anything for this to happen. I get it scheduled on a regular basis. And typically it'll do maybe a full backup once a week and a differential backup each of the other days. I've had many occasions. This has been my most frequent recovery operation is when there's some folder that's gotten deleted or the computer's not working right, the operating system seems to be messed up, and I'll be able to connect remotely and perform a restore operation from the last image or the last differential backup and get them back up and running in short amount of time. Then external is the same software I've already described, but using an external drive. Batch file backup, I worked with a client just a few days ago with, he wanted to be able to just plug in a USB thumb drive on occasion when he chose to and do a quick backup of files that are in his documents folder. I just did a quick batch file, so he double clicks an icon on the desktop and it does an X copy. OneDrive, iCloud, Google Drive. I have all those in operation on various different computers. Matthew, does that answer your inquiry? Do you have any follow-up questions?
One follow-up question, which is, well, would it be fair to say that if a client came to you, existing or new, and said, I've lost some data, I need it restored from a backup, would the stress be taken off in the sense of you're perhaps not solely responsible for maintaining that backup?
Yes, and probably more to the point, I've gotten to the point in my career, if I can call it a point, that in a situation where data needs to be restored, I don't really feel the stress the way I used to. And that has a combination of reasons. One is I have so consistently been able to recover even in an environment when I didn't think I was going to be able to recover. That helps. And then also that on the second level, let's suppose it is a backup scenario where I am responsible for the backups, but something has gone wrong and it's perhaps in an environment where I'm not checking up on it on a routine basis myself. Maybe I've delegated the confirming backups to clients, which I have. I do have some offices where I do that. And some of them are better at it than others. But if they fail to confirm the backups are working, then I'm going to plan B or C, but I'm talking to them and kind of managing expectations. And that's a big point. Anywhere is managing expectations. When something goes wrong with the computers and my clients are feeling a desperate, stressful situation, I'll do my best to fix it for them. But I've never represented to them that I guarantee you will never have trouble, or I guarantee that I'll be able to save the day for you. So, I might say something like, I'll bring all the experience I have to do the best I can with it, and just keep your fingers crossed. And I don't give them assurances up front that we'll be able to fix this. And there's times, one of the ways that I think that I have my clients not getting upset at me is the way that I put in detailed information in my invoices about what I'm charging them for. And there are occasions where they get charged for literally 3 or 4 minutes of time where I've brought somebody back up that was down, that was unable to work, and I've charged them 3 or 4 minutes. And I've had other times where they have a problem that seems like it would be simple, and I've spent 1, 2, 3 hours on it and charged them for it. And I charge them for it, and I never get questioned on my bills. And if I do, I know that I can point back to them, hey, I'm not charging this massive amount for everything that I do for you. You get charged sometimes very small amounts for something that saves the day for you. So that all helps relieve stress for me, because I feel good about the service that I'm providing. I don't even remember what question I was responding to. Which means move on.
Well, you know.
Oh, I haven't shown.
By the time they get to me, Doug,
Yeah.
it's I don't feel any stress or any guilt or anything of that nature, because by the time they get to me, they've run out of options.
Yeah.
And my response in that situation is, although not right to the client's face, but my response in my head is you're responsible for your data, not me.
Yeah.
I'll make my best effort, but it's your data. It's only important to you.
Well, I accept a little bit higher responsibility for advising them and for setting up procedures, but that a procedure could fail is beyond my control. Now, the one client where I'm swapping backup drives, they're in the car to do that today. Sometimes the charge for swapping those drives is 10 minutes. Sometimes the charge for swapping them, like 2 weeks ago, was an hour and a half because I had extra stuff that I needed to do. And what it was is one of the drives was performing marginally, and I determined that drive ought to be reformatted. And that means recreating the subfolders that I'm using, reestablishing the log system that I have on those drives, reestablishing the 2 different forms of Magnus Box backup, the handy backup drive, starting that on them, and the work that I was doing on the other computer. So I will spend extra time in assuring that things are going well. I have a logging system in a subfolder on those drives and on the servers, where each time I swap the drives, I'm making notations in that log about the status of the RAID 1 and the RAID 5 drives to be sure that they're not indicating a problem. When I'm swapping those drives, I'm making a log entry as to whether they swap properly, because sometimes they won't eject properly. So then I have to go into disk management and set the drive as offline, and then swap it, bring the new drive back in. So I have all this routine of log entries that I put in to be sure things are going well. Think of it as a checklist. So there are times when it takes longer than others.
Yes, but you've set all that up initially.
Yeah, and I modify it over time on occasion. And like the one that the hour and a half 2 weeks ago, that's an unusually long amount of time. I kind of restructured a little bit of how that log system was done. And I just saw your camera follow you, Jim. You've got that.
Yeah, my hand went up, and it basically it does that.
Yeah.
The hand gesture stuff does tend to get in the way every once in a while.
Yeah. For those don't know.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. You have all the stuff that you set up. Okay, so that makes sense. Okay, that's fine. When people come to me about losing data off of things, they're individuals. They're not businesses. So I don't necessarily have to worry. I don't have to worry about that. It's a different thing. Yeah. Now, also, I have told my wife more times than I have fingers and toes that if there's anything on her machine that she doesn't want to lose, she needs to make a copy of it on the NAS.
Yeah.
Because the NAS is in RAID 1. So I've got some fallover protection on that thing. My own machine, the machine I use every day, the gaming machine, even the editing machine here. If I lose the machine for any particular reason, I'm not worried about it. I can recreate it all. It's not a big deal, especially the gaming machine. What the hell does that mean? That means I have to download all my games again. Big deal. Steam keeps track of where I am in any particular game. That's not a big deal. I have gotten into the habit of at least enabling file history on the machine, and it saves all that to the NAS.
Now, file history runs off of the Windows integrated system. What is it called?
Yeah, it's file history.
Yeah.
Do a search in the system for file history, and it's there.
Yeah.
Now I have to put in additional folders that I want to back up. Like, for example, the only thing that's important on any of my machines for me that I don't want to lose are like email. Yeah. I have file history. I told file history, here's the folder that has the email in it. Do that at the same time you're doing all the other stuff. And that's it. It's done.
Another piece that I just realized ought to be included in the conversation is just basically system restore. because that's typically not configured by default. So
Right.
now that's not backing up data, but that can save the day, and it's a form of recovery. There's the other system that's built into Windows and typically active on a server, and I'm not thinking of the name right now. Somebody should be able to come up with that.
Well, it won't be me. I don't deal with servers very much other than my own NAS box that I built.
What, OneDrive?
No. Oh, come on. I'm looking for somebody to answer that in chat. It's not there. It seems like Gary would know this one. It's a mirror image that the operating system keeps going, and it can be configured. Oh, come on. What is that called? Give me VSS. Is that it? Rand is saying that's not. That might be the acronym for it. VSS. No, I don't think so. Shadow copy. There you go. Thank you, Costanza. Shadow copy. Yes. I have actually had a couple recoveries using shadow copy, and I really need to learn it better and understand it better. So I'm just adding a little bit to this description in today's video. So I've added system restore, file history, and shadow copy as additional things that should be part of that conversation. Selden Ball said goodbye a while back. Long Dog dug the core memory integrity stuff that we're not going to deal with this week. Maybe this will give some time to refresh my memory on this problem because I have the same issue. Overall, I do not understand why this problem even exists at the moment. There's nothing unusual on my machine, nor is there any unusual software, but I need to review why this occurs. Mentally right now, I cannot call it specifically. Daniel, oh yeah, that diagram for Danielle. The attachment I sent has a bus path from hardware info for AMD 5700 and B550 chipset. So let's get over to that. I think I've got that queued up over here. Yes, here's the diagram. This is Danielle's hardware info screenshot of it. Showing here the B550 chipset USB controller, and within there's the Logitech USB 4-port hub. Expanding shows 4 ports, no devices. See that plus sign right there? She doesn't have that port 6 expanded. So there's 4 unused connections in there. And then here is her APS backup, battery backup. It connects a cable to the battery backup and then to a USB port so your computer can monitor whether you're running from battery power and when the power goes out in the building. Can monitor the health of the backup power supply. And that's on a USB at the back of the motherboard for this port 9. Port 12, Bright Computech/MSI with a product ID code, I think is what that is. I have no idea what that is. And then down here in the AMD 500 series chipset section, PCI Express 500 series chipset. We're going down here deeper and deeper, and then we got the Renesas Electronics USB 3.0 host control. This is the added PCI USB card that she ordered from Amazon, and we saw the picture of it yesterday, and I think she just installed it. And to that, she has attached a Western Digital My Passport and a second My Passport with, slightly different serial numbers there. Scroll down further. Here's a Renoir Cezanne USB 3.1 controller with no specific devices shown. USB 3.1 controller with, there's a plus sign to see some more USB ports below that. Probably nothing connected there. Both on Danielle's system and my system, it seems to me that there's a whole lot of port numbers in excess of what is actually on the computer. And I think I'm suspecting some of these are repetitious, where they show up in more than one system on this tree structure. I don't know. But the thing that we were really looking for is trying to identify something that indicates what port a device is connected to. Now, for instance, this Logic USB 4-port hub, that might be an actual hub that she has connected. But here, the APC power conversion. By just moving that cable from one USB port to another, the physical ports on her computer, she could map out where each of these ports are physically located on the computer, if a person cared to know that. Now, this doesn't correlate to the block diagram. She mentioned also in the email about the block diagram. So let me go grab that block diagram. I think this is it here. Yeah, she was wanting at one point to correlate the ports to this block diagram. Now, this block diagram, I think of it as a theoretical diagram that probably doesn't give you a physical location on the computer. I don't know. This isn't actually a motherboard diagram. So it's just showing that the CPU USB ports, showing what ports that CPU has and what ports the motherboard chipset controls. So in one of her emails, she says she's let go of trying to correlate these to the USB dev view. But this is the first diagram that she gave us, and could not find an English version of it. I mean, some of this is in English. Some of it is, what language is that? Is it Russian? I don't know. Jeff and Londog in a conversation. Londog, interesting technique, Doug, on the RAID 1 and how you use it. I kind of never thought of it being used that way. Typically, you place the drive when it goes bad. And that's kind of my paradigm. Well, I have had the experience of pulling out, I think I've actually taken out both of the current drives and plugged in a drive that was 2 weeks old, and to confirm that I can actually boot the operating system up. And that drive, on the boot drive, it contains all the user information, since this is on a server, so I don't have to recreate that. And it doesn't have any data on it, so I could revert that drive back to a 2-week-old status and get the server back up and running. So my current RAID 1, if something goes wrong with that boot drive, it's wrong on both of those drives. I can pull both of them out, put in my last RAID 1 image, if I want to call it that. It's actually a fully functional drive. Put that in and boot the server on it, and then take one of the other drives that are now spares and plug it in, and it will synchronize the newly installed drive to the drive that is currently running the operating system. When I first did that, I was feeling very timid about it because I'd never heard of anyone else doing that. I didn't find any real documentation to confirm that you can do that, so I tested it, and it worked. Ran Israel to Danielle. Did Doug show it? I missed it. Oh, that diagram. not show the attachment, just the letter. Lawn Dog to Ran, are you giving me the hint that in BIOS turning off virtualization will affect this core memory effects just because I currently have turned on, I really wish I could call the definition of what core memory function is. Might have to look it up quickly. I hate when my mind is vague. Oh, welcome to my world. Kind of skipping through a little bit. Oh, I did go look around in my BIOS on Big Beast Build in relation to that, because we were saying that I needed to enable virtualization, I think. And we saw in my task manager performance that virtualization is enabled. I went into BIOS and I didn't see where that is to turn it on or off. And it's something that I don't understand at very much depth at all. Some of you do, and scratching your head, I wonder why he doesn't understand that better. Because I haven't spent enough time with it. Get over it. Now, for those who don't remember, the reason why I'm interested in that at all is this exclamation mark down that I have down here on Windows Defender, device security. There is no TPM available is what it's saying now. So I did go look at that and it says TPM is on. But I need to go get some screenshots of that and so forth, and I'll probably go ahead.
I was just gonna say, just an FYI for anybody that has recently done a Windows update and is still running Windows 10 and has got the Windows the Copilot option down on your taskbar and wants to get rid of it. It's in the taskbar settings, or you can get rid of it using group policy.
All right. Yeah, I heard stuff about Copilot, and I saw something about an update coming to, I think, one of my clients' computers about Copilot, but I haven't looked at it at all. Is it present on?
It just popped up a couple of days ago. It just popped up today on my mom's computer.
Oh.
But still not present on my computer. And we're both running the same updates, same version, same everything.
So it's probably still in a metered release state, perhaps. Now that's available on Windows 11 as well, right?
Correct. Well, I just saw it on her computer, and then I thought, well, we don't need that. So I found out how to disable it real quick, because it's a little icon on the bottom right-hand corner of the taskbar next to the clock, taking up space.
All right. As a Copilot's discover the power of AI with Copilot in Windows. Probably not going to be much interested in it. With Bing Chat, well, I do have that Bing icon down here because I do like the wallpaper. All right, well, that's enough on that for now. Virtualization from Lawn Dog. Greg M., I have one client who I repeatedly pestered to get computers at least on cloud backup. Nope. Then one laptop had boot issue and was BitLuckered. They never kept the recovery key. Too bad. Yikes. Yeah, I have some clients who are very, very tight. And I'll tell them occasionally something they should do or that I recommend, and they just aren't interested. And I've had times when they wind up with a problem and I go work on the problem, and doggone it, I solve their problem. So without them suffering severe consequences for not having spent the money on the precautions ahead of time yet.
Yeah, that's not going to hold out forever.
Yeah. Now, but actually, because you know about Doug, I charge them for that, for the time that I spend on it, and I enjoy trying to figure a way through it. And, you know, and tell them, well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to fix this, but I'm going to try to. And they get a bill for far more than it would have been if we had proper precautions in place. And they don't seem to kick themselves over that with regret. So,
Oh, that's
All
like
right.
that's like with my wife. I told her she needs to put things on the NAS. You know, she's never done it.
yeah.
And you know what'll happen the minute that machine dies, if it ever does die. You
Yeah.
know what's going to happen.
Now, in those cases where if I bring the computer in here and it's somebody who's has not given me the okay to pursue backups, is I'll keep a backup image on one of my drives here. And I have had occasions where that has also saved the day.
I'm
But-
not doing that with her. No, I'm not doing that with her.
Yeah.
I'm a person who believes you need to learn a painful lesson if you're not
Yeah.
going to listen to me.
All right. Continuing here, let's see, the block diagram, we got that, then discovered the key and recovered their data. That was over a month ago. Oh, now look at this. Greg M says, I then discovered a copy of the key and recovered their data. That was over a month ago. The laptop is still sitting here. Now that does bring up a subject. When I hear from somebody that they've got a data loss and discovered their drive was BitLockered and they don't have a recovery key, I want to go investigate that a little bit, because sometimes people aren't aware that they have that there's a copy of it in their Microsoft account, for instance, if they ever have signed in on that computer. Now, I don't quite know all the detail about how and when that works, but yeah, I would investigate it and not take their representation that they don't have the BitLocker key for it. I'm also interested in testing. Major manufacturer new computers come with BitLocker partially enabled. So I am interested in taking the drive out of that computer while it's still partially enabled, connecting it through an external enclosure to another computer and see if I can access the files on it. I think that maybe I can.
I don't think it's actual BitLocker per se, but it's some lightened up version of BitLocker, because it's even enabled on a home version.
Yeah, well,
Windows.
it isn't the full version of BitLocker, but it is partially enabled, and they want you to connect to your Microsoft account. And if you do that, that will complete the encryption. If you go to turn off the encryption, which is what I usually do, it takes a while to do that, which gives me the impression that it is actually unencrypting files. So yeah, I'd like to just take the drive out, connect it to the computer, see if I can access it. So I know, because I think I'm going to come across a computer somewhere down the line for somebody who got a new computer, set it up themselves, didn't know anything about this partial activation of it. It's actually called device encryption in Windows. I don't think it's called BitLocker encryption, but it is based on BitLocker technology. And I think they're going to have a time when their computer won't boot up and they want the data files off of it. Well, can I get the data files off of it without booting that computer up on its installed operating system? I'm interested to know. Such a Doug for forgetting the question you're answering. Yeah. Shadow copy. It's not a mirror. Volume copy. Shadow service. True. It's not a mirror. I think I used the word mirror when I was trying to trigger people to come up with it. Yeah. It's a copy of the volume in I think, hidden locations somehow. And I've come across, I had one server that I think was actually misbehaving somehow with shadow copy, because when I look at a certain place for how much free space there is on the drive, look at another place for how much free space there is on the drive, and it was showing like it was down below 5% space available. When I go into Windows Explorer, it showed like 40, 50% available. I don't know. I don't remember what the numbers were. But the problem with it is my users are complaining because they would go into Windows Explorer, and they would see when they go to look at like this PC, they would see their network drive with a red indicator that it's almost out of space. But yet when I go look at, for instance, right click on the L drive and choose properties, I find that there's tons of free space, much more than what was showing here. I'm not sure if I'm showing the right places where the difference was, but this is the place where they were seeing the red indication almost out of space, and that was their map drive letter to the server. And what I wound up concluding was that it had to do with the shadow copy service that was filling up this extra space, and it was managing that space of its own. They never would actually run out of space. But I never did go down that hole far enough to figure out or understand how that works. I just got to a point where I realized it's not going to, be broken one day. And just explain to them that it's okay. I know why it's happening, and it's not actually a problem. Shadow copy is Microsoft Windows technology that creates snapshots of computer files or volumes. It's also known as Volume Snapshot Service. Yes, Volume Shadow Copy Service, or VSS, Volume Shadow Service. Volume Snapshot Service. Yes, that's where VSS was the correct acronym to use, but I didn't recognize it until you said the word shadow copy. Because of course VSS stands for Shadow Copy Service, right? No, Volume Snapshot Service, apparently where they get that. Rand says that's easy. Connect a device and see under which hub it appears and backtrack to its connector. Yes, I see you already discovered how to display device by connection. Is that part of what was going on there? Is that was showing, let's get back to Danielle's HW info screenshot. What he says, I already discovered how to display device by connection. Oh, I know something else I want to show in regards to this. Device by connection. These don't actually get that verbiage here, but here's something I want to point out. Device Manager does give us this information. It's just not a very convenient way to look it up. So let me come on here to Device Manager on Big Beast Build and show that user-friendly description of the connected devices. Now I can't zoom in on this, but I want to come down to USB serial bus controllers, come down to USB composite device, right-click, and properties, come over to details, drop down this list, come down to this bus reported device description, and it gives me Logitech StreamCam. So in these USB composite devices, you can do this drop down list and just look for the longest description, the longest name here, bus reported device description, and that'll give you the user-friendly name of the device that's connected, and that'll correlate to HW info. Of course, you have to go into each one of these and right-click and properties, and then details, and then drop down list, and come down to this one. So it's kind of a nuisance to get there. So there's one of my RGB controllers. Oh, yes, RAN Israel. Thank you. I knew there was something there about that. Let's see. Easier method. Highlight the device and in device manager, device by connection. I think right up here, device in the view menu, resources by connection, devices by connection. So click here, and you're seeing them in a different ordering. Device. So we're actually seeing the devices. So Corsair bus, and see, so I'm looking for here, how do I spot my webcams using this method? Root print queue, no.
What are you doing? What are you doing here?
I'm not seeing that. I've got you muted there, Alex. See, does it give me any clarification? It's easier to start in view by type mode. View by type. Ah, all right. How is that any different than what I was when I first came into? Devices by driver. I have not spent any time exploring through this. What I'd like to see is something that shows the English-friendly name of the devices that are attached. Resources by type, no. Container. Oh, OpenRun Pro. This is my headset. Stream Deck. Wireless receiver for my wireless keyboard mouse. So that's good. That's devices by container. My Bluetooth. Yeah, I like that. Devices by container. John, actually, I did sleep really well last night. He's saying I sound tired. From Zavi Minor, the B550. I don't want to go to the channel. Get that out of there. There. That brought it up. AMD's B550 at the maximum gigabyte 550 in review. What are we seeing here? Here's the motherboard. So Danielle's motherboard. Ah. And then here's the CPU. So I guess, is this where Danielle got this block diagram? Excuse me. I'm thinking that's why he gave us that link. Doug, in the Asus BIOS, they have it in a weird place. I believe it's under advanced settings and CPU, but it's the terminology enable VMX virtualization technology you have to look for. I'm thinking you're right. And when I was poking around trying to find it, I thought it was something along those lines, but did not get to it. Londog is enjoying Copilot, tinkering with it, asking some complicated questions, quite lengthy. I'm interested in the discernment of my question and how AI approaches my question. So is this an alternative to like ChatGPT? In-BIOS virtualization. So is this going to help me get to that virtualization choice? Advanced mode, CPU configuration, virtualization technology. Yeah, I'm thinking that's already enabled. And my task manager indicates that virtualization is enabled. And we did those registry entries, I think it was last week, and did not come up with a solution. So next, TPM. TPM is setting in there somewhere. Remember, I had reset my BIOS to factory defaults, so that probably turned off TPM. Shadow copy does actually occupy space, but I guess how is that space being reported to the user? Yeah, I think that is the issue going on. And I think that was something that was not operating properly on that server. Matthew Barnes, be right back. Easier method, highlight device, device manager view, device by connection. Highlight the device first. Okay, so if we get back to the original, the default way this shows, which is like this, okay, so if I pick one of these devices and then select device by connection, will it automatically be highlighting the one that I have selected? Yeah, here, USB composite device. Okay, so then come back here again, devices by type. I know that this one down here is, I think, my Stream Deck. It's something that is more obvious. So then by connection, no. Isn't this the one that I found as one of my, yeah, Logitech StreamCam. This is my Logitech StreamCam. So highlighting that one, and then go devices by connection, I would expect to see Logitech StreamCam. Do I have to expand that? Oh, there it is. Yeah. So there's multiple there. Logitech StreamCam, this is the camera portion, I assume, because it has that icon of a scanner and a camera. This one here, Logitech StreamCam, uses the icon of a speaker, and that's because this is the microphone function. And then here, Logitech StreamCam, I can't tell what that icon is, but the different capabilities or features, I suppose, of that webcam is why there's multiple items, and it's a USB input device, so that gives it another presence in there. ACPI PCI bus. Let's see, what is ACPI PCI bus? Was he wanting that on device view? Whoa, what happened? Or connection view? Oh, ACPI. ACPI PCI bus. Is this where he was wanting me? Whoever was asking about me seeming tired, I'll say, yeah, I'm kind of feeling that, but it's not because I didn't sleep well. Doug, here's a curious question. When you're in Device Manager, you discover an unknown device, with a little yellow tag. What do you do with it? Do you delete it? No, what I do with it is I don't have an other device. It'd be in the other devices category. It'd be here between the N's and the O's. And then let's get back to devices by type. Is that what I wanted? Yeah, devices by type. Get to other devices. Oh, I do have other devices. Bluetooth peripheral device. What I'll do with that is go to properties, and I would typically go to hardware IDs and do a Google search on this ID to try to figure out what the device is. But another place to go to would be if we have that other option in here that we saw earlier that gives the English name of the device, which is not showing up here. But of course, I have the clue of Bluetooth peripheral. So I'll come into hardware IDs trying to get a clue what that is. Those are my thoughts on the subject. VIP and PID, go on the hunt for the driver. Yes, that's it. Is that what those are called, VID and PID? I think so. Hardware IDs. Yeah, see VID. That's the VID. There may be something else in here too. I'm not sure. Display name. Oh, other devices.
Looks like everybody's in. Let's see what it does.
Copilot is Microsoft version of ChatGPT. It's their AI machine they're developing, quite sophisticated. Just found Copilot this morning. It's from Stephen Smith. Hello, Stephen. I don't think I've seen your name. I don't think I've noticed your name yet today.
Gotta train the RAM.
Just found Copilot this morning. Typed in markets, current stock. Guess I'll try S&P. Yada, yada, yada. My eyes are even having difficulty going through chat now. Ran to Danielle and myself. I use this technique to see which USB port belongs to which controller. I'm kind of ready to get away from USB ports. Dennis is back. Londog, what if I had a GPU and then installed a sound card, then I installed PCI Gen 4 cards, I get the 20 gigabyte throughput. All this affects behavior, again, balanced calculations. Wintermute saying it's not theirs yet. I think that had to do with Copilot, I'm guessing. Gil Boyd discusses on his channel a lot of this workstation and workstations for video editing. Yeah. I'm kind of getting beat. Tired, worn down. Ready to hang it up. Zoom's back on screen. Jim, I muted you a little while ago when you were talking to yourself. Shall we shut it down? Anybody saying, no, no, wait, wait. Nope, they're not. So how about we go ahead and shut down?
Yeah.
Jim agrees. Twisted his arm to get him to agree to that. Not. Okay, in Zoom, would you go ahead and say goodbye to the peoples, please?
Hasta
Shalom.
la vista.
Hurrah, Doug.
All right.
Everybody. Hasta la vista, baby.
Thanks for hanging out.
Same time next week.
Yep. All right. Ending Zoom. There's back to my email address. If you'd like to send a question for myself in the Zoom, in the chat room. See, I can't even get that word right. To respond to during the week. Or send me pictures or even videos of things you're working on. Those are always of interest. And other than that, have a great weekend, everybody. Catch you later. Goodbye.